I mean, we can, yeah. So what is it like? Is it easier for a fan of a shitty team, or is it easier for a fan of a winning team to be like happy? Because I feel like teams that win, like your happiness definitely kind of relies on that team. Like teams that really, really suck, like I'm a Raider fan. We lost last week. I was like, oh, okay, saw it coming. Who gives a shit? On to next week. Like,
That's an easy question. It's easier to be a fan of a shitty team. Much, much easier.
is it though? Because like like I take it from you guys on the chin, like all the time. And I don't like to, but like I have to because we suck. Like I can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
It
but if we
depends.
win, it's like, yeah, yeah, awesome, we won. We won 6 weeks in a row now. We're like, yeah, we could be better.
You haven't lost a game since Christmas Day of last year.
What I
You,
guess the I
your
guess the
fan, your
question
team
is,
brought this upon the whole entire league.
You're welcome.
I, I guess the question is like, are you talking about a real football fan or just like a casual fan who shows up and catches the game and like it doesn't affect their mood? Because
No,
there's
I'm
a lot
talking
of people out there
like a real football
and
fan.
affects their mood. It's probably
Like
I
Tyball, I
would
hate to use you as an example. I feel like if the Chiefs were to lose next week to the Raiders, you'd be pissed off for like a few days. Hate to say it.
I don't
But
know if
like
you'd be
I've
allowed on the show, Tommy.
yeah, like for real though. Like if we
It's
won this
easier
week,
it's easier to be a fan if you're a real fan, just not just a casual. If you understand the game of ball, it is easier still to be a fan of a winning team because it's still difficult. Don't get me wrong, because you're seeing the mistakes. Like if you know ball, you're still seeing the mistakes. You're still wanting to get better, but you can still give it to the people who are fans of shitty teams. If you are a fan of a shitty team, you can't just go, "Oh, this is like." Could you imagine,
exactly.
just like Tommy asked, where we would be if the Chiefs weren't good? And we were all like, yeah, we probably wouldn't be having a 45-minute long podcast about the Chiefs specifically. It'd be 20 minutes of us just ranting and raving about how shit we are. And then we'd move on and spend more time about how good or how much better the rest of the NFL games are. We could do that as we could just compartmentalize and move that off to the side. It's harder to be a fan of a shitty team because you have to deal with it.
It must be very hard to be a Browns fan.
Because that's what I like, dude. Did you see? You had to have seen that interview that Jameis Winston gave after that game, right?
Not a good interview.
I
Miles
mean, I don't
Miles
know.
Garrett.
My favorite. I saw a comment on the reel that I sent you guys in the group chat. I saw a comment on that reel, and it said he's unintentionally hilarious, but he's also being real as shit. And I think that's a great way to sum up Jameis Winston is like he's always dead fucking serious, but he just comes off unintentionally just hilarious. Like, yeah, eating the W, like he said, he gives his body and his life on the line. It's
You've seen his training videos, of course he
like
does.
only oh, there's only one guy in recent memory who literally almost died on a football field, and that shit was on prime time, and that's why everybody knows about it. If it had happened at noon, only half the league would know about it. Let's be honest. So, so like to say he's putting his life on the line is a reach, but like what he was saying was true. Like those Browns fans are harsh, and I think to kind of like build off of what you said, Ty Bob, I think it's the in between. Like being a Chiefs fan right now, very easy. It's chill. I mean, you like as long as you don't lose to the Raiders. If you lose to like a good team later on, like the Steelers, watching the Steelers yesterday, I was like, man, Steelers Chiefs later this year going to be a great game. Should probably be flexed to prime time if it's not a primetime game already. But it's
It
you
is. It's
guys,
Christmas
so it
Day.
probably yeah. I was gonna say it's you guys. It probably is. So, but like that's a great game. But like
You have a
being
rough schedule stretch right there
but
too.
like being like a Houston fan or like a Packers fan, it's like you're on the cusp, but you're still like losing a few games.
Exactly.
It's
That's
like,
the point, though, is if you're a
yeah,
fan of a shitty team, you're looking forward to the next year instead of, oh, when are we
I'm
going to
not
lose in the
even looking
playoffs?
forward to next year.
But
I'm looking
you,
forward to
But
like
if
3 years from now.
exactly, but you have a lower draft pick, so you have potential building up for the future. Like you're happy
see,
for the future.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's got to be really good for Detroit fans. So like a recently for a while or like a stretch being like a bad team and then putting together like a couple of seasons where you see success. You know, Lions getting their first playoff win in
Dude, the Lions haven't been good since the merger.
Right.
Us as soon as
I mean, yeah, you
Alex Smith
guys.
comes in. As
Right.
soon as Alex
Yeah.
Smith comes in,
Yeah.
we start making the playoffs. Like it's a feel good story. Yeah,
I mean, like
I
for
would
most of your
imagine
guys' lives, the Chiefs have sucked. Honestly, let's put it plainly.
being a Browns fan, being a Cardinals fan,
Oh
not a good time. Being a Bears
no,
fan,
even like Steelers fans, like Steelers fans that are our
go
age
from
that
being great.
weren't around. Yeah, like weren't around in like the Steel Curtain 70s and shit, 80s. Like, oh God. Because it's every week, like there's hope every week. For me, it's like, yeah, like our offense sucks. Our defense is going to be out on the field too long. They're going to get tired. Teams are going to run the score up on us. Like it's going to happen. But like those teams that are on the cusp, like that's just, it's like having hope and heart surgery once a week. Like,
It's just straight torture at that point.
yeah.
You don't want
I'll,
that.
Or like
I'll
Ravens
tell you,
fans. Fuck.
I'll tell you something about being a Chiefs fan, though. Even while we were bad during my life, we always had good athletes and playmakers on the field, like a
Dante
Jamal
Hall.
Charles. Well, yeah, Dante Hall. Like
Rainbow,
we just sounded like you said rainbow right there.
Wayne
Waynebo, like a 4-year-old trying to say Waynebo.
Uh, but we've had guys that are at least fun to root for. We at one point, I think around like 2011 or something real bad when like we had like Damon Heward at quarterback or something.
Oh,
We were pushing like blackout status.
Was
on
that like,
TV,
was that
and
darkest,
that
was that lowest point as a Chiefs fan
was-
in your lifetime?
Damon Heward, Tyler
Yeah.
Thigpen,
yeah, Brody Croyle.
Matt Castle.
I was
That
just
was
about to say
rough.
Matt Castle. Yeah, it was like,
Matt
is that lowest
Castle.
point?
Yeah, he had
Castle
1 year.
Matt Castle gave you an AFC Player of the Month, one season in October. So like,
Yeah, but we
led
also
us
Well,
had,
to,
like,
everybody else had a
Tom
shitty
Brady.
month. Tom Brady
He
was
led
hurt
us
that
to
year,
10-6.
I do think though it's good for like fans of like especially like Chiefs fans. I think like it's good to not only appreciate where you appreciate where you're at because you've been through what you've been through. Like you've been through the shit and the mud and the suck. And you're like, God damn, why am I a Chiefs fan? I do this every year. I get excited. 3 weeks in, I'm like, damn, we suck. Why am I cheering for us? And then it pays off. There's other teams like the Jets who like
Never pays off.
it's like every year it's the same thing and it doesn't get better. So I don't know. It's just always an interesting question. Like, would you rather lose in the AFC Championship game or lose in the Super Bowl as a fan, or not even make the playoffs? I think that's kind of the same question I
There are
was
too many
asked.
fans
Like,
out there that think not even making the playoffs is better.
well, yeah, yeah.
And that's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'll tell you what though, dude. Like, so I'm a Dodger fan, right? I've been on edge since October started. Like straight up. A lot more games. It's not just once a week.
You had doubts that the Dodgers were going to make the World Series this year.
Oh, dude. Do you
Big
know
fan.
what the Dodgers have done in October the last like 4 years?
You
You
looked at the
played the
ads.
Mets.
You looked at the ads that the MLB was putting out, and you said they're not going to put Shohei Ohtani in the World Series.
Okay,
right
dude,
now.
the MLB is not rigged. The MLB is way too hard to rig the MLB. Please, 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 please don't sit here and tell me the MLB is rigged. Please stop it. Please stop it. The
Did
NBA
you-
is
did
way
you-
more
did
rigged
you
than
see-
the MLB.
Did you see,
Let's
did you
pause.
see the umpiring in Kansas City versus the Yankees?
I'll be honest, I only caught a few of those games, but I would say in what was that game? Well, you guys took it to game 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. No, like Garrett Cole, like they were being very generous to Garrett Cole. They were calling a lot of balls an inch, 2, 3 inches off the plate that like Garrett Cole.
3,
Like,
4, 5.
you can't give a guy like Garrett Cole.
Strike zone, man. That,
Yeah,
like,
No. I saw
And that
that
was every
game,
game.
and that was really every
They had
game.
to have
was every
Aaron
game.
Judge for Shohei Ohtani in the World Series. I'm sorry.
I mean, dude, there's so many variables though. Like you can't stop a guy from hitting a home run. Like you can make it harder for him because of the strike zone, but you can't stop a guy. Like, dude, Tommy Edman won the MVP of the CS for the Dodgers. He had like 11 RBIs and 5 runs and a home run. Like you at that point, you're not going to stop that.
I know we're not talking about baseball not being corrupt, and
On a football
and
show?
whatnot. Not only on a football show, but when you got a guy like Angel Hernandez, who is a
He's
head
out of the league.
umpire.
He's out of the
Yeah,
league.
he's
He's not
gone.
even in the league anymore.
It took him 20 years to get him out of the league.
Yeah, because they have a good union. Stay away from
And he's
unions,
sitting
kids.
there and he's sitting there corrupting every single game. Baseball is and basketball easy to corrupt.
Yeah. But like I was saying, as a Dodger fan, like I've been on edge for all of October. I can only imagine, like, even though you're the Chiefs, you're very, very good. It's one win and you're out. It's one loss and you're out. You know? Like, is that week leading up to the divisional round, to the championship round? Like, is that not like, oh fuck, dude? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen on Sunday. Like, I really
used
hope
to
it ends
used to
well.
make me queasy. Used to make me
Really?
real nervous. But
When did you
not
stop?
anymore.
When did you stop?
I started stopping last year, probably.
This past season.
You had
the
supreme
back-to-back.
confidence.
Not supreme, but I had
confidence.
more confidence than queasiness.
Okay. Were
Not
you
much,
scared
but
of
still a
anybody
little
on the
bit.
NFC side? Like, man, I really don't want to see that team in the Super Bowl.
No.
No.
Are you like that this year? You really don't want to see a certain team in the Super Bowl?
No.
As of right now.
No. I'm more scared of anybody that's in the AFC than I am of anybody that's in the NFC.
Really?
NFC just really doesn't have any competition that I'm worried about.
Wow.
And even then, like I'm still worried about the same guys. Like the Bills just got better by adding Amari Cooper. I think I'd like to see that happen for a couple more weeks before I really make a decision on anything. The Texans are still kind of scary, more so offensively than they are defensively, though they've become less scary lately. And given the Chiefs defense,
We stopped the run, and,
Really-
and we've also
really
seen
not
Joe
worried about
Mixon.
anyone.
Wow.
I'm more worried about Baltimore because Baltimore technically beat us. They just had a toe out of bounds. Like
Uh-huh.
Baltimore
You
drove
know-
down the field on us at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
And
we had a
if
great
they're
discussion
gonna
and
run
you all
Derrick
just
Henry next
derailed
time.
it. I derailed it with a question. It made me just the whole great discussion right there pissed me off at the very end asking you guys a question. Because fuck you guys. at
What
the
are
end
you, a
of the day.
masochist? You just like doing this to
But,
yourself.
okay, so now let me
No,
bring it
I
back
enjoy
to Tommy's
being- I enjoy
original
hurting
question,
myself.
because
Huh.
I will take Alex Smith era losing in the playoffs versus being a fan of a 2-14 team.
100%.
Yeah.
I will take.
I'll take losing in the playoffs every time.
I don't see that's the thing though. Like losing in the playoffs, like there's still I feel like there's a little bit more shit you can talk as a fan of a team that loses in the playoffs, but it's only a little bit more than a team that didn't even get close.
I'd rather have some hope and be crushed in the playoffs than have no hope at all.
Have
I
you
feel like
seen
that's harder
Ted
to be a-
Lasso?
It's harder to be a.
It's
No.
the hope that kills you. That's like the famous line from Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
It's the hope that kills you as a fan, honestly.
You're not
I
wrong.
like being hopeful. It's fun.
Hope is nice. It makes me feel
in the
good.
moment. In the moment, it is fun.
Now we're getting philosophical here.